So we have just developed our major groups, which, as I emphasized at the end of the last clip, were both useful for identifying the three topic sentences of the essay, as well as, of course, the three structural points in our thesis, which are one and the same. So once we've done that, now we have our thesis statement, which will lead to our topic sentences. We can then get back to the documents and prepare for some of our interpretation that we'll offer as we use those documents as evidence in the body paragraphs. Now, in reality, step 2 of reading and grouping the documents and the next step of what I'm calling step 4, where you identify point of view statements, are going to happen simultaneously. You're going to be reading the documents, you're going to be thinking simultaneously about grouping as well as about point of view statements. But for the sake of simplicity here, or the sake of sequencing, I have broken the two out as separate things. So we're turning to the same documents that we used for grouping, but now we're thinking to ourselves, how do I understand why each of the authors says what he or she says? We've talked about the formula X believes Y because Z as a way to develop point of view analysis statements, and that's what we're thinking about here. So I'm focused on what I talk about as the external elements. What do I offer as interpretation of these documents based on who the person is, who they're writing to, the historical context of when they're writing, the form of their writing, and so on and so forth. So going back to these documents, I'm looking at this first one and I'm thinking about how the external elements that are important here are the author's background. This person is an aristocrat, right, an elite. They're also a political authority, they're a chancellor, and it mentions they're from Bavaria, so I can also use geographical context, knowing that this is in the southern Holy Roman Empire, a region that remains very Catholic, to help me think about Leonard von Eck's very hostile response to the Peasants' Revolt. Unsurprising, because he's Catholic. He's not interested in this Lutheran revolt against elites. Document 2, similarly, I'm focused on this person's peasant background, the fact that they're a manual laborer, right? The DBQ tells me this individual is a craftsperson, which is important. And then I'm also focused on the fact that this is the 12 articles, so that the form of the document reflects the author's attempt to gain political legitimacy by using a type of source that would be seen as authoritative, as something that governments themselves generate, and now the peasants themselves are generating this interpretation. Similarly, on the next document we looked at, document 8, I'm interested in the fact, and I'm focused on the fact, that this person is again a Catholic author, that they are writing to an archbishop, is an advisor to an archbishop. They're also employed by the Roman Catholic Church, right, within this position of being an archbishop, and the fact that they tell us it's a secret report. So it seems safe to conclude that perhaps the secrecy of this report gives us a sense that it's more honest and telling about the author's true feelings rather than something that they might say publicly.